So it's that time of year again. We knew this one was coming and it's finally here. We're going to be talking about my first impressions from the House of Zaharoff. This is Seraphim Red. I just sprayed it on about 20 minutes ago. Going to be doing my first impressions. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka FragranceDoud, back at you with another brand new release from the House of Zaharoff. Before we get into it, if you're not already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Everybody also hit that like, comment below. Let me know if you've tried this, what you think of it, which one you like better, this versus the blue, which I am going to be doing a comparison video and a top 10 Zaharoff list at some point in time. But again, the House of Zaharoff, we've been blessed over the last year. This time last year, they came out with Signature Aurum, which I have in the other room. Honey, ambery, chocolatey, hazelnut, very, very, very good fragrance. This year, they came out earlier in the year with Signature Bloom, which reminds me of Tom Ford Soleil Neige. It's kind of like a really nice jasmine creamy fragrance. Then in May, the pre-order with the official release in June of Seraphim Blue, which really shocked everybody. Really, really nice fragrance. It's like a blue minty fragrance that has the nice powder to it. It is definitely for your more mature man. Then they announced that they're coming out with the Privé line. The Privé line should be coming out here in the next few months. So needless to say, George, shout out to George over at Zaharoff, has been really on a roll lately. And now we're going to be doing this one, which is the second act from the Seraphim line. And then there's going to be more, apparently, from the Seraphim line. I don't know the names. There's no announcements of it. But with that said, today we are doing my first impressions. I just got it in the mail about, I'd say, an hour ago and sprayed it on about 30 minutes ago, so I don't have to cut this off for the dry down. This is Zaharoff Signature Seraphim Red. Very, very nice. And you guys can see, if you have the box still for blue, I'm going to put these in the center of my collection. You put the blue next to it, and then it will have that Seraph Angel, and it's going to have complete it with the other side being the blue. So kind of like two sides of the same coin. And with that said, that's kind of how this one smells. I'm going to spray it on again just to get a reminder of the opening. I do have the dry down on my right hand, but as you can tell, they are the same bottle. And again, the box is going to kind of look like that, where it's going to finish the angel. But this one has the blue cap with the blue Seraph Angel, and this one has the red cap with the red Seraphim Angel. And I don't know the story behind them. I just know that they're supposed to represent different parts of Greece, like Mykonos and stuff like that. With that said, how does this one smell? So I really didn't know what to think about this. I know I heard from Ross over at TLTG that this one was going to be a pink pepper bomb. And pink pepper is one of my favorite notes. It's in a lot of my favorite fragrances, from a few of the Jean Paul Gaultiers to the Diorum Sport 2021, that being the most prevalent one that I can think with the pink pepper. When you first spray this one on, you can already tell as soon as it's on, it is a much more mass appealing option versus the blue. While the blue to me is still very mass appealing. I love it. My wife loves it. Surprisingly, my wife loved it. I did not think she was going to because of the powder in it. And because, again, it is more mature and she usually doesn't like those style fragrances. But she loves this one. Well, this one, you can still tell it is part of that Seraphim line. So while George has always done very well with the Signature collection, having that Pour Homme DNA visible in a lot of the fragrances in the line, this is no different. You can still smell that eucalyptus in there. There's still that minty aspect to it. There's still that powdery aspect to it. This, just like I said with the boxes, it's going to be like the other side of the angel. This is kind of like the other side of the coin to Seraphim Blue. Well, Seraphim Blue is more of like your everyday office day version of this line. This one is going to be, while this can be easily worn all day long, I find this to be kind of like the night out version of it. So anyway, how does it smell? When you first spray it on, it does remind me of kind of if you mix Seraphim Blue together with Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Eau Fraîche or Le Male Lover. It has this creamy aspect to it and a little bit of that aquatic nuance that you get from Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Eau Fraiche and Le Male Lover that you didn't get from the original Seraphim Blue. It dials down that powder, it dials down that eucalyptus, and while it's still there, you do get an amped up amount of this pink pepper that you didn't get in the Seraphim Blue. This one has a little bit more, and it's aptly named Seraphim Red. It has that pink pepper, bringing that red feeling to the fragrance. And I know that's weird, but you guys know what I'm talking about if you've been in the fragrance community a long time. That pink pepper really brings that kind of like sweet and spicy depth. For those who don't know exactly what pink pepper smells like, you would think it would be spice. And while it does have a bit of spice to it, pink pepper a lot of times comes off as a nuanced sweetness. And that's what this one brings, along with this nice creamy sandalwood. And those are the two things that really stand out the most to me, mixed together with the DNA from the original Seraphim Blue. It has still, again, that eucalyptus. It still has a little bit of that bluish feeling, kind of just pushed back and made a little bit more mass appealing from that pink pepper and sandalwood mixture. This is really, really nice. I mean, this, to me, could be my favorite one in the entire Zaharoff line. I'm not even kidding. I mean, it's really freaking good. I'm shocked at how, I mean, everything, I already sprayed it on, and I knew about a half hour ago when I first sprayed it on, I was like, this is really nice. Like, I was not expecting this to come out because a lot of the Zaharoff fragrances, I kind of just find situational for their own, outside of a few, like business over pleasure, even this at times, but to the everyday average Joe, I find a lot of them to be situational. This one seems like it could be worn by any age over maybe 20 at pretty much any time of the year. So it just adds in a lot more of this sweetness that you didn't get from the original Seraphim Blue. And while it's not an overly sweet and cloyingly sweet fragrance like other fragrances that you like, Ultramall or something like that, it doesn't go that route. It's just the pink pepper it brings, and it still feels like a very natural fragrance. I mean, go figure, it's George over at Zaharoff. The oils come from Mon. If he can get naturals, he's getting naturals. And this feels like a very high quality, natural fragrance that is literally, again, Seraphim Blue's DNA dialed down, and sprinkled on top is a wallop of pink pepper, this creamy sandalwood, and then you also do get a little bit of an aquatic feeling. I was going into this thinking it was going to be a very aquatic fragrance, but it's not. The aquatic tones just lend a little bit of almost like a salty feeling to the fragrance. But yeah, I can just tell you, based on this opening half hour, I would give this fragrance at least an 8.5. This is, I mean, even up to a 9. I mean, this is leaning itself to possibly being better than my favorite from the line, which is Business Over Pleasure. My favorite from the house, I should say. There's a lot of favorites. I mean, obviously, Aurum is going to be my favorite for the fall and winter because that's really what it's centered around. But as far as like all season wear, Business Over Pleasure was always my number 1. This kind of snuck into number 2 or number 3, but I'm actually shocked because I know a lot of people were saying that blue was better than red. For me, because I heard a couple people talking about it, I like red better than blue. I love blue, and I will continuously wear blue, but I gotta say, when it comes to the two, I think I like red better than blue. Obviously, I'm gonna have to get full wears out of it. I don't have the full performance, and I'll do the note breakdown in the full review, but as it started to dry, it is quite linear compared to Seraphim Blue, which I didn't find linear. I found like it changed a great deal going into that dry down. In this one, yeah, there's really, I mean, outside of a little bit of this kind of creamy floral from the orange blossom, I don't really see much of a difference here at the 30-minute mark. I mean, that doesn't say that it's not going to change as we get further into the fragrance, but if anything, that sandalwood's just popping a bit more, a little bit more of the aquatic notes, but the pink pepper is staying there. Hasn't really left. Yeah. So just to me, at least to me, if you've tried Le Male Lover, kind of pair that together with this. And that is what you have. You have that kind of mass appeal that you get from a fresh Le Male. And I keep coming back to that because it feels like it has this almost vanillic sweetness from that sandalwood pink pepper mixture. And then it's just kind of like that on top of a downplayed version of Seraphim Blue with that eucalyptus and woody tones. Yeah, this is kind of like the other side of the coin of Seraphim Blue. This is like the night out version, the more playful, friendly version that is more mass appealing to the everyday average Joe. This is great. This is great. Great job, George. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to come back in about a week or so with my full review once I get some full wears out of it. But I'm going to give this probably a 9. I'm going to give it like an 8.5 to a 9. I don't want to lean on the 9 yet until I get a full wearing out of it, but I will let you know when I come back. But this is absolutely great. Again, pink pepper heavy. It does have that aquatic tones, but very dialed down, not as much as I thought, not as prominent. And then you have that sandalwood. It's really a sandalwood pink pepper dominated fragrance with that eucalyptus and that Seraphim Blue DNA just kind of downplayed underneath the pink pepper sandalwood and a little bit of aquatic notes. Great job. Very, very good fragrance. So yeah, I'm not going to keep you guys here anymore. Let me know your thoughts if you've tried it or if you're interested in it. And again, I will be back with another video. Thank you so much. Peace out.